December 31st. It's about 10 to 8. It's already hot, and you can see the leaves moving. There's actually a bit of breezing coming through at the moment. Forecast for today is for some fairly strong westerlies, which could affect a lot of the fires, and then a southerly coming through in the afternoon, which will make the winds more erratic. So it'll bring in a bit of a cooler change, but the winds make it erratic. So they're a bit concerned about the fires. Yeah, that's blowing in from the west at the moment, which is probably why it's so hot, because it's coming from inland. Let's see how the day pans out. Okay, phone, I hope you're going to record, because you've been mucking up on me. Today was horribly hot. That wind didn't really pick up during the day, it just sort of came and went. But just as we, young bloke, I should get him on the video, he helped me clear out all the space behind the sheds against the fence, and he really got the fence cleaned off, all the vine, got all the copper logs and everything out of there, and that was basically where we worked. And I cleaned out all the leaves and everything out the front, and then started cutting back the bamboo down behind the sheds, because the wind did pick up and I didn't want to have something drop on the shed if I tried cutting stuff there. We got a lot of that cut up, and the heat at that point was almost oppressive. It was like beating down on you. I had to cut it up to fit it in the trailer. We got that up there and dumped out, and then as we left the house, just after we left the house, my wife messaged me and said she just got an alert to say there's a fire on 2nd Avenue in Katoomba, and she's not sure where that is in relation to the tip. And we looked, and it's not there, but it's actually near the RSPCA up there where all the animals are kept. And we just saw all this black smoke billowing up from Katoomba, and when we pulled down to the tip you could just see it across the ridge. We got that lot dumped out, came back, and because we had the time to, and while I had the young bloke be able to lift stuff, we got all of the logs and a couple of old pallets and some of the old timber that's just lying around, threw that all into the trailer and went up to do a paid dump. The trailer felt heavy. And we got up there, and when I pulled up, the guys just thought I was doing green waste again. I said, no, it's timber this time, it's paid one. He goes, all right. They give you a little reweigh card. So you go in, when you come back out, they reweigh you. I had 240 kilos, so just under a quarter of a tonne of dirty old copper logs and timber and stuff. While we were just pulling in there, the big firebombing plane was coming in and circling and getting ready to drop. When we went up the second time, the smoke didn't seem as bad, so hopefully they got on top of that, and we saw a lot of trucks and emergency vehicles flying up the highway. We were coming back from that first trip, so hopefully they got on top of that. The southerly is still meant to blow through, which is I'm not looking forward to, and I'll mention the other stuff later. I need to call the tip and ask them if they're open tomorrow.
There are certain people, they just have a presence, right? They can kind of command your time a little bit, and it's warranted, because it's either you're going to learn some advice, because they're trying to tell you something or teach you something, or again, maybe it's just nothing more than a welcome distraction, but either way, there are a handful of people I know can do that to me. Camps was absolutely true. I will always figure out why a cat is coming over to me, because that's rarity, and you should appreciate that shit. And experiences. Yeah, I talked about it before, but like collective experience,
just
right?
Came down to storage to put a few more things in. Penrith was crazy busy. When I was coming through, there were people and cars everywhere trying to get into Panthers. And I've got a feeling they might have done some sort of small fireworks or show for the kids, because like traditionally they do a 9 o'clock showing or fireworks for kids, and you can take them home, put them to bed. And they do that in Sydney as well. They do a 9 o'clock show, and then they do the midnight show. as I was coming back, there was people moving back and forth from Panthers as well, again. And when I got to one set of lights, I saw one group of people that I did see walking in towards Panthers as I came through, and now they're going away, and they had a little kid with them. So that's why I'm thinking it must have been New Year's Eve fireworks for the kiddies during a fire ban. I hope they didn't set fireworks off. There's enough fires around here as there is. New South Wales Premier has said that the fireworks at Sydney are going ahead because we're the first country to celebrate New Year's. So, sorry New Zealand, you don't count. I just think that's got to be the most ridiculous statement to justify setting off one of the biggest fireworks displays there is during a total fire ban. They got an exemption. Other councils actually have cancelled. I heard, my wife told me that Parramatta Council cancelled and donated 10 grand to the Rural Forest Service. Sydney Council said we're going ahead with the big fireworks. Oh, and people can donate to the Red Cross. Sorry, I'm ranting. Everybody will see this after New Year's, but I'm wishing you a Happy New Year now. Have a good one. If I record tomorrow, I'll probably say Happy New Year as well. Like I said, by the time this gets up, it'll probably be the first week of January. If I remember, I'll show you the stuff we got done today. I've told the young bloke he had to have tomorrow off. Take a break. I'll try and get some stuff done myself that I've got to do. He's been such a good help. Happy New Year. It's the 2nd of January. Spent yesterday doing a lot of cleanup, taking down the tree, putting away all the lights and decorations. Well, my wife got the decorations wrapped up. Took the lights off the house. Today, my plan was to get some more stuff for storage, which is all packed around me. Just some things that, again, things you could never replace. You might be able to see some of the stuff behind me. Guitars. Well, you can replace guitars, but they have sentimental value to them. My golf clubs that my dad gave me when I was a kid, and I've hung on to. Bedside table that belonged to my pop, which I think his dad made because it's in very much the same style as the bathroom cabinet that I've got of his, which is already in storage. Some of my carving, some of my art. I've still got some of my other art to take away, which, to be honest, there was a lot of things that I've only just started to think about, like what would happen if that went. I would feel really bad. Like, I've got my HSC major project artwork. You can never replace that. I've had that since the HSC, obviously, and my year 11 one. And my wife reminded me of it the other day. And I still have to take it down. So I'm going to roll it. Behind the sheds, which I've probably showed in a previous video, I had a lot of timber, reclaimed hardwood and softwoods, stacked on a couple of sawhorses behind the sheds. And they basically captured leaves and that sort of stuff and created kind of a fire hazard. So I spent the morning after loading up the car. I've got a giant trailer load of timber, and it took a lot longer to do than I thought because some of that timber was a lot heavier than I remembered. Giant chunks of Australian hardwood in there. Had to use the trolley to drag them up from the backyard and that sort of thing. I loaded up the trailer with timber. I then loaded up the base of the trailer because that was all on the racks, mainly because of the length. I've got a little flag out the back. I'm taking that stuff back to school because it came from school, a lot of it. And I remember when I bought it back from school, I had the van, and it was really easy just to load up the back of the van with all of it. So the trailer's loaded up. I then loaded up the base with all the old wire from the fences that I pulled down, and some steel that I found buried in the yard, and some from out of my reclaimed pile hoard, and there was a table that broke when I accidentally stepped on it down under the house. Its legs are a mixture of steel and cast and extruded aluminium, and it had some other extruded aluminium lying around, so I just sort of grabbed that. I didn't want to make a dedicated trip to the scrapyard just for the wire. I figured while I'm taking all of this timber down to get it out of our yard to reduce that fire hazard, I'd take all of that steel as well, because the steel merchant is in between work and the house. And time started stripping away from me. It's now 2:50. I know the GA isn't going to be there when I get down to the school, but it's not. I don't need to go into any of the buildings. I'm just going into my storage shed, which is easy access for me. And then I need to take the scrap, but still I'm starting to wonder if I'm actually going to make it to the scrapyard. But my wife reminded me, yes, the storage closes at 5 or 5:30. I think it's 5:30. I just rang them. Yeah, it was 5:30, and I just asked for an extended entry, which they can do. And so they've given me an extended entry till about 8:30, so my code will work for the security to get in up until that time, so I can get in there and get rid of that. And then I've got 4 bags in a box of bottles and cans to take to the recycling machine, a whole stack of plastic to be taken to the recycling at the grocery store. I need to go to Bunnings to buy some bubble wrap and go to the grocery store and get some groceries. So this is going to be a long trip, but it's better to do all these things in the one trip rather than making multiple trips to do it, because that just kind of wastes time and money. And the young bloke, I messaged him about possibly coming tomorrow, because I've got a lot of dirt shoveling and that sort of stuff to do again tomorrow, and he's got a much better back than me for doing that, and he does a really good job when he was doing it. So I messaged him, asked him about working tomorrow, and he said, yep, that sounds good. So he'll be there about 8 in the morning. My pride for a long time stopped me from getting help, but now that I'm getting a bit old and breakable, finally getting the help, and I'm paying for the help. I don't think anybody would do all the work that they did for these guys and this guy, because one of them only stayed one day. He wouldn't do this for free. We were having a discussion the other day, and he said, like, he doesn't mind if he went to help out one of his elderly neighbours to clean out the gutters, he'd do that for free. The kind of work that I've been getting him to do is really physical. It's very back-breaking and tiring and that sort of thing, and he really appreciates the pay. It's costing me money, but boy has it saved me time, because I don't think I would be anywhere near halfway through the yard without his help. I think I've done 14 or 15 trips to the tip. One of those was a paid one. The 6th is when they stopped doing the free entry for the green waste. It'd be great if they extended it more, but I doubt they will. This trailer load is really heavy. Seems smokier down here than it does up at the house. There's a lot settled down in this Penrith Valley area.
Don't want to increase my speed too much with the trailer. Nobody wants to be on that bus.
Still around about half an hour to go until I get to work. got all that offloaded. It was a lot easier to offload than it was to load, just because I was able to back straight up to that shed and slide all the big stuff straight in. I was hoping to get rid of some of this other scrap at the school while I was at it, but when I looked at the time, I've got to go and hopefully make it there in time before they close the gate to the last person, because they usually do it at 1:45. I don't want to miss that again. Yeah, so there was a lot of weight in that timber, because I can definitely feel the difference in the car right now. I think I need to check the air pressures on the tyres though, because it's bouncing a bit more than I think it should. Hopefully I'll get there.